dope taste. Like I run the baby. Game time, I'm all in. Got a lot of dope taste. Like I run the bases.
Waterboy Confidential, sports news, fan talk, plain and simple. It's your boy Robbie Digital, the most love, hated, and hydrated. And today we got a Burgundy Buzz edition where we're going in on this horrific Commanders offseason, because the Commanders offseason, again, is a horror show where we go into the regular season with questions on both sides of the offense. Thanks to Adam Peters, once again, in the third year of his rebuild, doing a horrible job of rebuilding. Especially when you take out these early first-round draft picks, everything else he's done has just been patchwork or questionable. And we're seeing it already get exposed with his attempt to cover up the stench of his stinky offseason by bringing in Stefon Diggs. And like the local media and some of these fanboys in the mainstream media, they're not really pressing these guys, actually giving these guys credit for some of these moves, but these are not real moves. When we look at the competition that's in division and outside the division, and they're already starting to take notice. Listen to this.
Has there been a camp you went to and you went, I don't know, don't love it, something's not right? I'm going to guess Commanders, but is there one that you just drove away thinking not as tight as it needs to be?
I think that because of the urgency, Washington is probably the answer to that. When you fire both your coordinators and you replace those guys, that's a message that things need to change in a hurry. And so, yeah, I think in terms of a combination of urgency and real questions about the roster, I would say that Washington is really the only team I've seen that checks both of those boxes.
So you come in to this offseason once again on both sides of the offense. You get Jayden Daniels. When you get a young quarterback, you have to get him an O-line, you got to get him some weapons, and you got to get him a defense that at the very least can make plays and get turnovers. You're seeing that in Chicago. O-line, run game, defense making turnovers, they make plays. We saw that in the first year. We had some pretty good blocking. We was able to run the offense. Jayden was looking sharp and good. Defense was opportunistic. But now all those things can't get masked with Jayden Daniels anymore. And if you didn't build an O-line, it's going to show, especially like it's showing in year 3. Now, we already came in with issues on the O-line when you let Tyler Biadasz go for nothing. You try to save $3 million. He gets picked up by the Chargers. They're paying this man 3 years, $30 million. They think he's good. But you get rid of him as if you have answers. You don't. Now we have questions in the center of the line. We have questions on the right side with Connolly. Solid dude, played pretty good, got better. He's a young guy. Coming into this season, he can show some build on what he did last year, but that's still not the answer. That's still not like locked in. Like everybody thinks, okay, we're good at that position. You drafted Brandon Coleman. He's just trying to find a place on the line. I mean, when he plays, he looks pretty solid, but still questions there. So then you say, we got some questions, but we got some depth. But at the very least, we got an anchor on our line with Laremy Tunsil. No, we don't. Not anymore. So you're coming back into this season with a quarterback that was injured last year. The thought should be, let's protect him. And all we have is questions and injuries across the line. And to add to that, Jonathan Bates, our best blocking tight end, is hurt. Allegretti, the center that should be starting now that you let Tyler Biadasz go for nothing, he's hurt. Soft tissue injuries, calf injuries, hamstring injuries. These things can linger into the season, and you already see them bringing in patchwork linemen to fix the O-line. So the first horror story is just this O-line, year 3, has not been built. And you drafted the quarterback with the highest injury concern. You still didn't really build the line up. Then we go to the second issue with this skill position room. Where are the weapons? Where are the weapons? We're still continuing to go to free agent Home Depot to get weapons. We're not bringing in marquee names, and the skill players we're drafting are not playing good. So then you had to go and get Stefon Diggs. Bro, can you bring in a real free agent can you bring in a real marquee player? This past couple years, you could have got DK Metcalf for a second-round pick. You could have got George Pickens for a third and a fifth. You could have got Devontae Adams for a third. You could have swapped late-round picks and brought in Michael Pittman. Instead, we're sitting back. We're looking dumb, having a wide receiver controversy with Brandon Ayuk. He's not even on the team. A smart GM would have just disassociated him with this dude. Instead, you're allowing this dude to associate him with the team because maybe you're desperate and you still need him and want him, despite him looking goofy as hell and not really playing in the past year. So you go into the camp saying, oh, we like our receiver room. Dude, the guys you drafted aren't even in position to start. And then you go out and you get Stefon Diggs, a guy, again, free agent depot, patchwork. If he was really solid, you would have brought in a receiver that you could actually sign for 2-3 years. And instead, we're doing patchwork again. We did it with Noah Brown. We did it with Debo. Now we're doing it with Stefon. And, like, sometimes this stuff works. And, like, Austin Eckler played good, made some plays. Noah Brown made some plays. But when are you going to actually build this team with guys that can grow and develop with Jayden, bro? You've been wasting second and third and fourth round picks on guys like Sennett, Lane, and McCaffrey, and nothing has materialized as substance. You know, just look at Jalen Lane and Luke McCaffrey the last 3 seasons combined. 45 catches, about 600 yards, and 3 touchdowns of production. So you're striking out so far on draft picks, and then you come into this offseason and you want to convince us that bringing in guys like Burks again, Van Jefferson, and Chig Okonkwo are like key additions. Like, bro, they were on the Titans last year. That was one of the worst ranked offenses in the league. Y'all acting like we brought in A.J. Brown and Derrick Henry from the Titans. No, you brought in 3 throwaway pieces from the Titans offense and try to make it seem like you built up the offense during the offseason. You didn't do anything. And then the final piece of this offseason horror show has been the cornerbacks, the secondary, bro. We are going to get cooked. I mean, you got to go up against Devontae Smith, Neighbors, Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, just in division, bro. And we are yet to really solidify the cornerback position. We're going into the season. I mean, if you look at PFF rankings and scoring, our cornerbacks are horrible. When it comes to PFF, below 60% is just below average. We have a history of below average cornerback play this entire Adam Peters regime, and we going into year 3 again with horrible cornerback play. They're getting cooked in camp by our own wide receivers, and we don't even have a strong wide receiving core. That's why we had to go out and get Stefon Diggs. Just wait till we do joint practices in preseason. It's going to get ugly. I mean, the cornerbacks we have are all below average. Luckily, we brought in Douglas, and we need to go back out there and get Kenny Moore or Tre'Davious White. We just got to go out and just really try to patchwork this cornerback position, because right now, as it stands with Mike Sanders still, he's a horrible outside corner. You see him in these practice routes just getting cooked. Anything that's not quick, he's getting cooked. It's Benjamin St. Juice type behavior. He just in position to get cooked. It's looking like NFL Food Network chef competitions. Wide receivers just cooking corners. Sauteed corner with a pineapple glaze. Just cooking. And we haven't even got to the season yet. So, I mean, with this back end, even if you improve the front end, you better scheme things up. You better cut off parts of the field, because if you leave these guys exposed, you brought in a Meek Robinson. He was also a poorly rated cornerback. A couple injuries, which you're already saying with Trey Amos. I mean, Trey Amos isn't even respected. Did you see how Devontae Smith reacted to them saying Trey Amos could check him? He's not even respected. I mean, just look at this.
Hold on, Smitty. Trey Amos.
We got two.
So then you have Trey Amos, who's supposed to be your best corner. He's coming in camp. He already got injuries. Still recovering from his injury from last year. And honestly, he should have recovered already. So if it's lingering, a couple injuries at the cornerback position, and you're exposed. You're already exposed because you have below average cornerback play. But now you don't even have the cornerback that you drafted to lead the cornerback room playing. So now you got vets past their prime and poorly rated free agents and draft picks. So it is looking horrific in the cornerback room. It is looking horrific in the cornerback room. And it's looking like we're just going to have to win by shootout with this team. Because if you bringing these guys in and they can't handle McLaurin, they can't handle Williams, they don't want to see Neighbors and Pickens and these other guys. And some of these other teams and their receivers that it's going to be trouble. So, again, a horrific offseason because of Adam Peters. Let me know what y'all think. Because, everybody's all excited because of Stefon Diggs. And, oh, my gosh, this, that, and the third. That cannot cover up the stench that is coming from the O-line room, the stench that is coming from the receiver room, or the stench that's coming from the cornerback room. So let me know what you think. Waterboy Confidential. It's your boy Robbie Digital. Waterboy Confidential. Sports news, fan talk, plain and simple. We're going to get it in all year with topics like this. So please like, subscribe, react, check in. I'm out.
Like I run the baby.